everyone, my name is Chloe and today I'm here to do the random 20 questions tag. So I saw this tag done on Sarah from Steeped in Books channel, and the original creator was Steve Donghue, which if you don't follow either of them, you need to. They're both funny and they both have little laughs that will just make you laugh. So I love both of them. I'll have them both linked down below. Let's get into the questions. So the first one is, what's the nearest place to you that's so famous everyone knows it, and how near is it? So if you don't know, I live in Kansas, and there's not a whole lot of cool stuff here. We're kind of landlocked, and there's really nothing great. So I will say the world's largest ball of twine, I think, is about 4 hours west of us. I know, like, western Kansas is very flat, very like what you think when you think Kansas. It's very prairie, a lot of agriculture, that kind of stuff. I live in the eastern part of the state, and there's more cities and hills and those kind of things. But the world's largest ball of twine is out there somewhere. So that the Flint Hills are also somewhat close. I don't think everybody knows about either of those things, but yay, Kansas. Number 2, have you ever had a paper cut so bad you thought you might die of it? No, thankfully I have not. I used to teach, and so paper cuts were a thing, but now I don't get them nearly as often. However, knife cuts, I cut myself all the time. I used to use this like really dull knife just because if I nicked myself, it wasn't a big deal. In fact, I think I have a little one right now because I don't use that dull knife anymore. And I have a story that one time I did. I was like, it was a bad deal. I was in college, and I had this huge knife that I used to cut watermelon because I love watermelon. And so it's like early school time, so maybe like August, because we start in August here, so August, early September, whatever. And I had that huge knife in the sink. So I'm trying to do dishes really fast before class, and I cut my thumb. And so I'm like, okay, let's get it wrapped up. Like, let's just keep moving. If you know me at all, I am just the type, like, I don't stop for much. And so trying to put paper towels on it, and then I'm like, whew, I'm feeling a little lightheaded. So I sit down, and I call, like, my mom or something, no answer. Call my dad, no answer. Call my sister, no answer. Call my grandma finally, and I'm like, hey, I just cut myself and I like can't see straight. Can you stop by? And so she came over, because luckily we all live in the same town. So she came over, and she's like, I'm like laying on the floor at this point because I can't see or like anything. I'm about to pass out. And so I look at, like, I have my hand, a paper towel over my hand, and I'm like, I just need help. You need to hold it so I can get a Band-Aid and go to class. And so I do it, and I like open it up, and it like springs blood, and you can see my bone. So I ended up going to the ER, and I couldn't move my hand at all. So I'm like, this maybe is more serious than a Band-Aid. And so I go to the ER, and he like had to, if you're squeamish, skip ahead like 10 or 15 seconds, but he had to like grab the tendon and reattach it. And so now I've got, let's see, how do I show it? That little scar. I don't know if you can see it, but got that little scar as a memory and an excuse to never do dishes, which is not actually true, but my husband and I do kind of have the agreement that I cook, he cleans, because I just reached in there to do dishes and just jabbed myself just right, and that was a time I thought I might die because I couldn't see and nobody would answer my phone call. Next, number 3. Have you ever found anything genuinely valuable in a book you bought, a used book you bought? I have not found anything valuable, except I love seeing, like, when people write in books, like their dedications or their, not dedications, but like they've obviously gifted it to somebody. I love seeing the notes, and sometimes I'm like, gosh, I wish I had this story, and I wish I could be the type of person that like doesn't feel so guilty that you can't unhaul those, because my mom and dad both write, well, not my mom as much anymore, but my dad always writes in the books he gives me. And so then I keep them just because it meant something to him, and he wrote in them, even if I don't like them or never had the intention. So Dad, if you're watching this, I love that you do that, and it makes it hard to get rid of them. So I love seeing people's notes in them. So it's valuable to somebody, but obviously not enough to keep it. Number 4, have you ever read, met, or married Jacques Barzun? Maybe? No. I don't know who that is. I need to do some Googling because I don't know who that is. So never read, met, or married him. Number 5, aside from your pets, what is the specific non-human animal you see often? I don't know. We have a lot of trees in our back and front yard, so we see a lot of birds. Ainsley really likes seeing the birds, and so Jeremy's family, I guess Jeremy said something to somebody, and so somebody from his family brought us like 6 bird feeders, and so we've got one up in the backyard, so we see a fair amount of birds and squirrels. And then we live in a very, very suburban community, and there are a lot of like family dogs, and so every time we go out for a walk we see a lot of dogs, so all of those. Number 6, have you ever been inside a cathedral? If more than one, do you have a favorite? Yes, I have. So I'm not Catholic, but I have a lot of Catholic friends and family, and so there's been a few small cathedrals across the country. And then also I have gone to Europe a few times, and so in Rome, in Italy, there's just been tons of cathedrals. They're just so beautiful. I went in all of them all the time because they're just so pretty. So my favorite would probably be the Duomo di Milano in Milan. I don't know if I pronounced that correct at all, but they have a huge cathedral kind of in the city center of Milan, and it is gorgeous. Number 7, have you ever been actually seeing and hearing things delirious? I don't think so. I was watching Sarah's, and she I think she said she was coming out of anesthesia or something, and she was, and I've seen a lot of videos going around where people are like saying things under anesthesia, and I personally do not come out of anesthesia well. I have chronically low blood pressure, and so coming out of anesthesia, I'm always like just trying to see straight and not pass out, and so like coherent words don't happen until I am like all the way to, and it's been a few hours. So I've never really been like seeing or hearing things, except that like I can't see, my vision goes. I am kind of a lightweight drinker, so I don't think I was ever seeing or hearing things, but I can get pretty giddy and delirious at times like that. Let's see. Number 8. Do you have blood relatives who read for pleasure? Yes. Shameless plug on my Zoom In with the Fam series. I will link the playlist or the videos or something down below because my mom, dad, sister, and grandma all read. And they all read very differently, but they do all read. Number 9. How many species have you smooched smack dab on the lips? I just love these questions. Are so Steve Donghue. I love them. None, because I am not super touchy feely. I am with like kids, but like everything else, I'm like, and like my dog would literally eat poop, and I just couldn't do it. And dogs is all I've ever had, and they've all been like gross dogs. They're not gross dogs, but I just don't want my mouth on their mouth. Next, do you ever listen to the radio? Any favorite program or person? I do in the car, typically. Like in the house, we have an Alexa, and so we listen to a lot of Orange Kids music. I'm trying to think what the other, I can't remember. There's another kids thing that we listen to. We listen to Mickey all the friggin' time. But in the car, like if I have the choice, I will listen to Sirius XM radio, and I like The Message, Pop 2K, Y2 Country, and 90s on 9. I think those are my favorite, probably. Yeah, I'm going to say those are my favorite. Next, 11. Have you ever been to the Eiffel Tower, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or the Louvre? And yes, I've been to the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre. I've not been to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Next is number 12. What little thing do you miss most that you have lost due to the pandemic? And I have talked about it multiple times, just the contact with family, especially having a baby during the pandemic. It is really sad not to be able to share her. My 2-year-old is also changing and growing, and her vocabulary is growing so much that she's just at that stage where she's so funny, and not a lot of people get to see that. And also just the help. I miss the help. Having 2 kids, having a newborn and a 2-year-old. It's like the help from family would be wonderful. I really miss not being able to utilize that as much. What little thing do you miss the least that you've lost during the pandemic? I would say like going in places, because especially with 2, like getting Ainsley out of the car seat, getting Annie's carrier, getting all that, and then getting everybody back in. And like Ainsley is big on taking her shoes off and stuff while we're in the car. And so getting everybody dressed and ready to get out of the car is just an extra step that, like, grocery pickup, I really enjoyed not having to do all that stuff. And like yesterday, I got some stuff from Joann's and they have curbside pickup. And so I was able to take both kids. I didn't even care if they were dressed because we weren't getting out. So, those kind of things, like getting out and going places, I do miss it sometimes, but like in the practical things, the things that I do frequently, don't miss it at all. Number 14. What's your relationship with small talk? Hate it like acid, love it, or merely competent? And I think it depends on what kind of group I'm in. Like, I think if we all have something in common, I don't mind it. Like, I'm the MOPS coordinator for around here. MOPS is Mothers of Preschoolers. And so getting a bunch of moms together, it's like, I don't mind small talk at all, because we all can jump into, it doesn't matter who you're talking to. We all have a similar experience, and it's something I enjoy and something I'm passionate about. And so small talking about kids and motherhood, I don't mind. If it's just a random group of people, I can do it for a while, don't love it. I would say in general, I'm pretty extroverted. And so I like talking to people, but small talk is so surface level, and it just gets old quick, especially if you're like going with a bunch of different people. So I don't know, kind of all of them. Then number 15, have you ever won money at gambling? And yes, like 2 times in my life stand out. One, I was 18, or somewhere between 18 and 21, and we went and visited family in California. And my grandmother's sister, they used to go to this casino all the time, and that was just their form of entertainment. They were retired, they just went to this casino. It was an 18 and over casino. So I went. It was my first time. I was so excited because here in Kansas and the surrounding areas, it's all 21. And so I went, and I don't remember how much I won. I mean, maybe $100 or something. I don't know. But I came out ahead, and I was so excited. The other time is my mom and I, before I was married, we used to go, she does this with both of us girls. She would take us once a year on mother-daughter trips. And so one trip we went, and it had like the lobby had like a casino thing. And so every time I was able to like hone in on what slot machine would help, like would work. And for some reason I had the best luck this trip. And just like I would put a couple coins in and win just little amounts over the couple days we were there. And it was really fun. Let's see. Number 16. Do you ever give money or time to charities? Yes. I have always joked, like, if I could make nonprofit work my job, I totally would, because my heart is so for helping people and doing things like that. In fact, I went and got my master's in kinesiology and health education. And living where I do, there's really not a whole lot you can do with that. If you live like in a bigger city, you can do like worksite wellness and things like that. But what I chose to do was I got my master's in Austin, Texas, and I decided to move back here to Kansas and start a nonprofit. So what I did is started Girls on the Run. If you haven't heard of it, it is an international organization, but it works with young kids and elementary school, and there's a middle school program, kids, and it's all about female empowerment and uses running as a tool to kind of teach that empowerment. And so I started it, made a company out of it, and then I wanted to get it to a point where then I could hire somebody to be the executive director. So I ran that for a couple years and then was able to hire somebody, and now I take the role of just volunteer and helping and I don't do nearly as much with it now that I have kids and am busy on my own, but I'm so excited. Like you do a 5K every semester, and I love it. Has grown so big in this area, and I am just so grateful for that. And so yeah, I get spend a lot of time with that. Also, MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers, is something I do as a volunteer position. We also give to Compassion International. If you haven't heard of that, I'll link it down below somewhere. It is an organization where you basically sponsor a child overseas somewhere. You can pick really anywhere, and it helps get them education, and it helps with their faith. It is a Christian-based organization. They get more time learning about God, and so we have 2 kids for that, and they are both in Togo. I hope I'm saying that correct, in Africa. And so that is just something we're great about. We donate to our church every week. Yeah. And if you guys don't know about Amazon Smile, that is also something we do. It's like a branch. 1.1% or something of your sale of what you buy goes to a charity of your choice. And so, yeah, that is also a very small contribution, and like passive. That's not really actively being aware, but I guess it helps. Number 17, do you craft? Knitting, crocheting, woodworking, pottery throwing? No, I don't do any of those kind of things, but like I said, my first career was a kindergarten teacher, and I love like those kind of arts and crafts, like Pinterest worthy things that you can do in a day. And obviously right now I do most of them with my kids, but I also have a silhouette, which is like a Cricut so I made a lot of t-shirts. For our wedding, we made everybody t-shirts. Everybody in the wedding party, I made them all t-shirts, and we took all the kids bowling, and they all wore their t-shirts, and it was so cute. And like most of the kids switched into their t-shirts at the reception. It was just really fun, and I really enjoy doing stuff like that. I don't I don't do it now as much that I have kids, just because I don't have time, but I love doing that kind of stuff. I do know how to cross stitch, but I haven't done that in years. I don't know how to sew or knit or crochet. I do like to sew. I made some stockings for us, and like pillows and simple stuff, but so nothing crazy, but I enjoy like Pinterest worthy crafts. Next, do you talk to yourself when you're alone? Not really, not out loud for sure. Because like when Ainsley was born at the very end of January, and so I stopped working sometime around November or December, and because we were all convinced she would come early, and she didn't. We ended up having to induce. But so anyway, I was just at the house by myself most days, like just doing things. I mentally talk to myself a lot, and sometimes I'll verbally say okay, did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that? So I'll say that sometimes, but then sometimes, like some days I would be like, man, I need to like call people on the phone or something, because it would be the end of the day, and I would realize like I had not used my voice all day. So yeah, no, not very often. Not out loud anyway. Number 19, were you or are you a social queen bee in college? And college has been a minute for me, but yes, I was very, very social in high school and college. My social life was sometimes more important than it needed to be. But like I said, I'm pretty extroverted in general. I'm becoming more and more introverted as I get older and just as things go on. But I would say, yes, I was pretty social in those times. I don't know that I would say I was a queen bee, but I was very social. Then last is 20. Are you a sunrise or sunset person? And I love both. And unfortunately or fortunately right now, having a newborn, I often see both. But I am more a morning person. And so if I had to choose, it would be sunrise, because it's just very symbolic of a new day. And but sunset, like especially at a lake or something, you can't beat that. So I love both, but if I had to choose, I would say sunrise. So those are the 20 random questions in true Steve Donghue fashion. Like I said, I will link him down below. And I will also list these questions. If you have a channel, please do the tag. I would love to see your very random answers. If you don't have a channel, let me know your answers down below. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.